Alrighty.
crossed.
Fingers crossed indeed. Let's see here. Test 1 2 1 2. Let's make sure my microphone's good right there. Hello, hello. Okay, we're good.
Oh,
All right, Eazinn, give me a little 1 2.
test 1 2 1 2.
Bump it.
Testing 1 2 1 2.
That's pretty good right there. Okay. Cool.
All right, perfect.
Noise. Okay. Well, I guess let me introduce myself. My name is CCNeverender. I work with CJ here on Speed Docs. We
All right.
do speedrunning documentaries and things like that. And
Mhm.
we're doing Donkey Kong Country 1. And
My favorite.
yeah, we've interviewed I think almost all of the world record holders at this point, except for TJP and Closty.
Hey, you talked to Garrison?
I have talked to Garrison. I've not interviewed him over the phone. I talked to him through messages, and when he declined to interview over the phone.
Fair enough.
But I did ask him plenty of questions, so he did dedicate a lot of his time. So we appreciate it.
That's good.
I might quote him on some of that. So, yeah, I just wanted to sort of get your take on the history, and you can maybe tell me some stuff about what's been going on.
Sure.
Okay.
Don't mind that. Just got some hammering in the background there.
Oh, goody.
Perfect timing.
We picked a bad day.
But yeah, I guess I'll just start from when I joined the community. I'm just
Okay.
gonna take a trip down memory lane. I joined in 2014, and the people at the time that I was watching was Garrison, of course, the world record holder at the time, and Peachy, who was contending for a record. And I kind of just watched them for a while, and I got into it in August of 2014, and I think the first time I got the record was, I want to say, October of 2015. Yeah, that sounds about right. And in that time, it wasn't really that active of a game. It was mainly just Garrison and Peachy were like the only real runners at the time. Fadlo wasn't in the picture yet, and Silent Wolf had been running since about 2011, I think, and he just wasn't running the game at the moment. So it was only really the three of us, and so there wasn't really too much competition. There wasn't really too much in the means of pushing the game further and further along because of, not having the competition and stuff, but still managed to, get the record in October. And I think it was, I got 32:59. And that was quite a good time. That was quite a good time at the time.
Yeah, that was a pretty big one.
Yeah, it was quite an achievement for me. I definitely look back at that one with a smile on my face.
That's good.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not really the greatest at explaining all this stuff, but what else would you want to know? Do you want to know about like strategies or like?
Well, I guess we can continue from where you left off, where I believe you said it in 2015 is whenever you got that 32:59, right?
Yeah.
So you had finally broken that 33 barrier.
Yeah, I was the first one to do that. Yeah.
And that was a pretty optimized run, if I'm not mistaken. I think you got the jump rolls on 5.5 and 6.5, and you did was it the Creme Tut or was it the Vulture one on 6.1?
It was the Creme Tut, yeah.
Yeah.
There was only 3 jump rolls at the time, actually, so.
Yeah, you had got all of them.
I got all of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays there's like 7 or 8 one frame tricks, so it's changed quite a lot over the last like 4 or 5 years.
Right.
But yeah,
I guess
the strategies at the time were it was optimized for then, but now you'll notice that segment times have gone down like quite a lot. Like movement has tightened up a lot, and there's like a lot of like just little optimizations in like pretty much every stage. But with what we had, it was quite a good run. I think my sum of best was 32:57 when I started the run, and then I got 32:59. So
That
Just
is very
judging by
optimized.
that was
That is a very, very close. It's almost perfect.
it was for the time.
Yeah,
For the
for the
time.
time. For the time. But times changed, and it'd only be a couple months later, in 2016, around I believe it was the beginning of the year, they
Yes.
found super jump rolls. Can you
Yes.
sort
Yes.
of tell me how the community changed around the super jump rolls and how that sort of evolved, or?
Yeah. Well, people were kind of split between allowing them and not allowing them. There's actually quite a heated debate over it on the IRC channel. There was no Discord at the time, so we just had IRC, and there were valid arguments on both sides, but in the end, as you well know, we allowed the super jump roll. But myself and a couple other people were trying to push for not allowing them, just to preserve like the integrity of the game, I guess.
Okay.
Not to have like every single stage have one of these tricks, and be more based around like movement and actually playing the game, which is what I've always enjoyed about the game. So I was an advocate for banning the trick, but in the end it was allowed, and I'm glad it was allowed looking back. But
Okay.
I was definitely pretty salty about the whole thing, because you get this awesome time, and then a few months later it's like bam, now there's like a whole minute of new time save come along. So it was pretty bittersweet for me, that's for sure.
Okay. Were there any other arguments, or was it specifically like you wanted to maintain the sort of the aspect or the integrity of the game as it was already developed?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much just that.
Okay.
Pretty well, people just wanted to keep the game where it was, and not to be adding a lot more one frame tricks to the run.
That's fair, because the thing that I hear a lot of is like people are just complaining like, oh man, I don't want to play this game anymore because there's so many one frame tricks.
Yeah, a
Like,
lot of people are like that, myself included. I've definitely strayed away from that game.
yeah, it's a
But
shame, but
yeah, it's just the way it is, right? It's just speedrunning.
that's how it goes.
It just comes down to, really, I mean, progress. You're not just going to halt progress because you don't like something. You kind of just have to accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
And it's more or less about having like rules that make sense, not having arbitrary rules. That was like the main argument against it, is like, well, we can't ban the super jump roll because it has the jump roll as part of the glitch. Like, you'd have to ban the jump roll and the super jump roll, and it would just be too hard to do that with all the runs that already have the jump rolls in it already on the leaderboards. So
Yeah, it'd be indiscriminate.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. You originally had world record back in 2015, but you've recently had it as late as like 2018, I think July or something.
Yeah, I think, was it this year? Yeah, it was this year. Yeah,
I know it was this year. I forgot exactly the month, but
it was. Yeah, it was around summertime. It was around summertime, I believe. Yeah.
nice.
Actually, I think it was like September, maybe, or not September, August. So yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah,
Something like that. Okay.
but that was pretty cool for me. I derusted the game and got the record in like 4 days. Actually, it was quite a fluke. I wasn't really expecting it to happen like that, but it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Just coming back like that, and bam, all of a sudden have the record again. And actually, since then, there's been a new trick discovered called the super. I think we call it the super free roll.
I have heard about this, or the snack roll.
Yeah, the snack roll. So since then, as you look at the leaderboards now, Void has 3156. There's 231s on the leaderboard. So that trick really helped push the game to beat another milestone. Getting under 33 was a pretty big one, and now getting under 32 also being the next big milestone for the game.
Yeah, I think he had Void just recently got it a couple days ago, like around Christmas.
He did, yes. Very impressive time, actually.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he did the super free roll on 6-2.
Yeah, 6-3, yeah.
6-3. Oh, 6-3. 6-2 is Manic Mancers. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No.
This is sort of a weird thing because I've actually never really played DKC. I think I played 2 and 3 a lot, but I never really played 1.
Oh,
Which is kind of weird. So it's weird to me that that we're doing this game, but we had some connections. Like we spoke with Tampa a lot on a previous video we did, and
oh, I'm sure he gave you quite a lot of information. It's
we were
very
really
knowledgeable
interested
about the game.
in what he had to say about DKC. So we thought we'd dabble in it.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
so it's a little weird because I think CJ and I both have very little experience with the game. So I had to learn the whole thing from scratch.
No better way to learn about it, really.
But yeah, I guess that's true. We sit down and just study.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess with that in mind, uh, let's see. I don't want to word this. As someone from the outside, me personally, can you maybe help me understand? Because I feel like there's something I'm missing when I look at DKC speedruns. Like, it seems like everyone takes the perfect movement for granted because every level is optimized like crazy. You know,
Oh, okay.
even levels without any of the special tricks have all this crazy optimization, and you guys are like within like 1 second every single split. It's like there's very little
Definitely,
time
definitely.
lost. Or even in like a game like a SM64, it's like it's not uncommon for someone to lose like 20 seconds and then gain it back later or something.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a very good point. Relatively speaking, in my personal opinion, I feel like DKC is quite an easy game. The movement is the movement's great and it's hard to master, but it's a very linear game. Like every stage is just left to right. There's not much verticality involved, and it's really just all about maximizing your roll distance and minimizing the time spent not rolling. And so there are definitely hard stages and hard strategies to perform, but generally speaking, you'll see, like you said, people within like 2 or 3 tenths of a second consistently on like their world one split or their world two split. They'll always be like around, like 634, 635 world two. It's just like a very common thing. And it's also because the game has basically no randomness to it. There's only the world two boss and the world six boss, and the variance in those two bosses is like, a couple seconds at most. So it's really all just about execution. And I guess the game just being pushed as far as it has been for as long as it has been, it's just like the inevitability of speedrunning, really. You're just going to get to that point where it just gets so tight, right? I think of a game like Super Mario Brothers 1, for example, where there's like literally just frames to save now. And it's kind of the same concept, it'll never be like that way with DKC1, but it's the same kind of concept, as people have played for years and years, the times get lower and lower, but they only get to a certain point. There's a hard skill ceiling with this game because you can only go so fast. Whereas like, games like Super Mario 64, the skill ceiling is quite a bit higher. So there's quite a bit more variance. Not to say that DKC is an easy game, but there definitely is a hard ceiling, and I feel like a lot of us in the community have reached that point now, and that's why you see less and less variance in between the top runners.
That's a good way to put it because I was thinking that like yeah, some of these strategies, some of these levels haven't changed since like 2011. Like
Yeah,
or
they
even
really
even
haven't.
earlier than that. I've seen some runs. I think TJP did some runs in 2007, and it's like he does the same strategies on a couple of these levels. And it's like you guys have improved them a bit, but the overall strategy has been the same.
Yes, yes, very much so. Like, water stages, for example, like, I don't know, like coral capers in World 1, that nothing's really changed then since I've started running the game. Maybe we tighten up our movement a little bit, but like you said, the strategies have been the same for quite a long time. And when something new is found, it's usually only like, a handful of frames. Half a second would be like a pretty big find nowadays. Like sometimes we find something that's like 0.2 or 0.3, but nothing really major. There hasn't been anything found that saves over a second in like a long time.
Okay, so I guess what I wanted to ask next would be so I've been told, I think it was Fathlo who told me, maybe someone else, that apparently there are more super jump rolls on different stages, but you guys just don't do them.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
There are quite a few. There's some that just don't save enough time to really be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also some that it's more than just being a one frame trick. Like the setup itself is frame perfect. Like you have to move like literally frame perfect to do the setup and have everything work out in your favor. So it just becomes not worth it, like not RTA viable in a sense. There is one in World 6 that runners go for in the any percent speedrun because it's only about an 8-minute run. And that one saves 3 seconds in loopy lights, I believe. And the world record for any percent that Enryu, I believe his name is, has uses that super jump roll, but it's not used in any other categories just because the risk versus reward is just too great. Setting up the super jump roll requires that you sacrifice a Kong, and it just takes so much time to set up. You're risking like 10 seconds to try to save 3, and the window is like 1 frame. It just never seems worth it to some people.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and there's another one in Elevator Antics that some people go for. Stu, in particular, one of the top runners of the game, he goes for one in Elevator Antics that nobody else goes for, and it saves about 10 seconds or something like that. But it's just, I find it to be like too difficult, so I personally don't go for it, and none of the world records have it in it, so it's really interesting to see, though. I mean, the next world record could have these glitches in it. As we push the game further and further, it's inevitable that people are like, well, I guess we should add another trick. We should add another frame because we've reached that threshold.
Right.
But then it just gets to the point where you have, well, like how many frame perfect tricks, right? 9, 10, 11. And then it just becomes so unrealistic that you're going to get them all in one run. It becomes very hard to optimize the game to get, a perfect run and hit every single frame perfect trick. So
okay, what do you think is going to be the next one that people are going to implement?
Definitely be Elevator Antics.
Is that one just easier to do? And it's how much time does it save?
It saves, like 10, 12 seconds, I believe.
Oh, that's pretty
so good. It is quite a lot. But in order to go for it, you have to do a different super jump roll setup in 5.1 ODA. You have to do what's called damageless ODA, which is I haven't looked into it too much myself, but it is apparently considerably harder than the original super jump roll setup. So you'd have to do that, which would allow you to enter Elevator Antics with 2 Kongs instead of 1, which is the huge thing because you need to have 2 Kongs instead of 1. So,
gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then after that, there's nothing really else that I think anyone would be willing to add. Loopy Lights saves 3 seconds, and then there's one in 1.2 or 1.3. I forget which stage, but and that saves like 4 seconds, and it's like double frame perfect or some nonsense.
Oh goodness. Okay. All right. Well, lastly, I wanted to ask. So Fathlow's record broke the 32-minute barrier. You broke the 33-minute barrier, right? So it took 3 years to go from the 33 to the 32 barrier. How long do you think it'll be until y'all break 30 minutes or 31?
It's a really good question, honestly. I feel like something new will have to be found for that to be possible. As it stands right now, I just don't see it happening. But to give a guess anyways, I would honestly say like another 3 years.
You think it'll be that soon?
If it's gonna happen, then yeah, I think in about 3 years. If it's gonna happen at all, it could not happen. There might not be anything else to be found. So
that's fair.
It's really hard to say.
Okay. Yeah, with the super free roll that I'm seeing, it'd be interesting if there's more applications or something similar to that, where it's like, oh hey, we're gonna turn these frame perfect tricks into free tricks where they're no longer hard.
it's really the best trick that we found in this game, to be quite honest, to eliminate a frame perfect trick, but still have the time save be the relatively the same. I believe it's about 1 second slower to do the super free roll than the super jump roll, and it's it's not frame perfect. It's really a godsend.
That's a super good trade off because
Oh,
1 second is so minuscule in a 32-minute run.
it is. It really is. And the last two records, or no, just Voids, I think, has the super free roll. I don't think it was discovered. Yeah, it wasn't discovered by the time Fadlo had found it, so, or by the time Fadlo got his record. So,
okay,
but I agree. I think it would be really cool to see more applications like that.
Yeah, or something similar.
Like game.
Some way to buffer it. I don't know if that would ever work, but
yeah,
that would be super dope if you guys could find out.
Some way, something.
Is there any pause buffering in DKC? Is there even a pause button? I've never seen anyone pause in DKC.
Only when they're falling in a pit. Rage pause. I don't think there is. I don't think it works the same way like an Ocarina of Time. You can pause and unpause and input something on the very first frame. But we do have buffered rolling and buffered inputs without pausing. So like if you're like a few frames away from the ground and you press the jump button, it'll jump, your Kong will jump on the very first frame that you land. Same with initiating a roll. If you press Y a few frames from landing on the ground, then it'll initiate your roll on the very first frame. But that's basically all we have for buffering.
Okay. I'm kind of running out of questions here. You've been at GDQ, haven't you? You've been you've performed on GDQ.
I've been a few times, yes.
What's your experience like with that been like?
It was really nervous the first time I went, definitely. But it's an overall amazing experience. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I get a lot out of it. I think it's really cool that something I love as a hobby, I can raise money and like help save people's lives in a sense. I don't know. It just seems like so surreal that something as simple as playing video games allows me to have the opportunity to help people, whereas I would never be able to help them in any other, otherwise. So that aspect of it, I think, is really, really cool. And I feel really fortunate to be able to be a part of that. But the experience itself is really cool. It's, it's really cool to be there with friends that you've met online and just have that connection, that instant connection with basically everybody at the event. It's like lots of good vibes. People are always in a happy mood, and it's just like an overall great experience, at least for myself.
Yeah. I think my favorite part of GDQ is always going to meet people. So
yes.
I'm going to meet CJ for the first time in real life.
You're going to miss. Oh, cool. Yeah.
That's a little weird.
It's like, oh,
we work together. Woo. He speaks for just a moment.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what's that?
There's a third person in this call. What?
Oh my God. But yeah, I agree. Meeting people is honestly my favorite part about it. And just like going out and eating crappy food like 3 times a day and staying up till 8 in the morning just to get the free breakfast and then sleeping all day.
I guess have any of the experiences with GDQ been like really big for the DKC community, or do you think it's just kind of like oh hey, we're here?
Well, I think the DKC trilogy relay was a really big success for our community.
Yeah, I was actually there in the crowd.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I remember afterwards a lot of new faces in the Discord. And even still, like, there's half the people I see in the Discord now, I don't even know who they are. So that says in itself, like our community is really growing from that. Just taking a look in the Discord right now, there's like a good 300 people like that are in here, not all online, but
yeah, it's good growth.
So yes, I would say that the trilogy relay would be one of the biggest pushes for our community. Like, it really helped get us out there and give us some like recognition. That's the word I'm looking for.
Okay, well, I think that's all the questions that I have for you. CJ, do you have anything else to add to, or are we good?
Sorry, I've been listening this whole time. Just uh, my only experience with Donkey Kong Country is the Game Boy Color version, and that's like notoriously like the worst version you can actually play.
Game Boy Color, yeah. I'm sorry.
And I get a kick out of telling people that. Otherwise, no, I have nothing else. You did a great job. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Eazinn.
you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Good thing we got you before you dodged us 100 times.
Yeah. I swear, it won't go further.
I know, I'm just playing with you.
Just in time, too. My friend's like, "Oh, be there in 5 minutes." Fuck.
Oh, there you go. He has him knocking on the door.
Yeah, I know,
Let me
right?
in.
Let me in. Let me part of this in.
Oh no, there's a tsunami heading towards my house in Kansas.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, guys. I hope that answered some questions, and I hope it makes
man.
a good final product.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
Man.
Awesome.
Man.
Awesome.
Man.